Welcome back to the Bonsai Wire podcast. We took a little break for the holidays, but we're back for another exciting episode. This week, Jonas and Michael sit down for a chat with Carmen Leskoviansky. She's currently the Bonsai Collection Specialist at the University of Michigan Matthaei Botanical Gardens and the Nichols Arboretum. Let's jump right into that conversation.
As far as we know, there's nothing we need to say by way of introduction. Mostly we just want to hear how you're doing, see what's going on.
Absolutely.
It's good to see you. It's been a little while.
Yeah, it has. I was just getting memories in my Facebook newsfeed of when we went to Japan last year. Apparently it's been a year. So
Jonas was just telling me about that. And you were there for kind of an azalea tour, right?
Yeah, it was originally supposed to be a buying trip. I had gone, Mel Goldstein was supposed to come, but he was having some surgery and couldn't come, but I was still invited to come along. So we went to a bunch of different azalea nurseries and got to see a bunch of different stuff. It was cool.
Neat. So what though? So we're starting in the middle here somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already deep into bonsai if you're in Japan. So just for a little bit of background, or maybe even further back. So not even just starting with bonsai, but okay, deep in the depths of time. You're 12 and a half. Where are you living and what are you engaged with?
Where am I living now? And what am I?
No, when you were 12 and a half.
Oh, when I was 12 and a half. Okay. When I was 12 and a half, I was living in, sorry, my dog is in the room and she just whined at me. I was living in Ortonville, Michigan. I grew up there. We had about 3 acres. It's kind of rural.
So what part of Michigan is this?
So Ortonville, Michigan is located in the southeast portion. It's about an hour north of Detroit and an hour south of Flint. Yeah. Okay. So we had 3 acres. It was fairly rural. My dad built a house and there were a fair number of landscapes on the property. There was a swamp. My dad planted a bunch of Scotch pine in the backyard. So there was like a little pine forest. And then there was just kind of a bunch of deciduous forest out front. And my grandparents actually lived right next door. My dad built their house as well. And so we pretty much had 6 acres to explore and play on. And we did very much.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So you didn't find nature later in life. You were invested early. Okay.
Yeah, we always had a vegetable garden growing up, and we had chickens that first we raised for meat, and then once my brother and I realized what was going on, we switched to just raising them for eggs. But I do remember chicken butchering. That was interesting. And there was a little flower garden over by the chicken coop that my parents would let my brother and I every spring. We would go to the local greenhouse and we were each allowed to buy a flat of flowers and plant a little triangle over by the chicken coop.
Yeah. So then jumping forward a little bit, I'm curious, you do have a horticulture background,
yes.
Right? How did that start? What tell us about your studies.
Sure. So I went to Michigan State University, and when I got there, I didn't really know what I wanted to go into. I did go there because they had a great horticulture program and I was considering it, but I was also considering teaching like elementary school level and anthropology. So I was lucky enough, I was able to take a couple different classes in each of those subjects my first year. And so I mean, I liked all of them, but horticulture seemed like the most natural for me. So I switched over to officially being in the horticulture program, and I graduated with my bachelor's.
So you had a lot of interests, and then you honed in on horticulture.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It felt like a really natural move. Like everything else would be a little bit kind of out of my comfort zone, but this was really easy.
You mentioned at one point to me that you were interested in women's studies, or did I get that wrong? Yeah, you said that was
you're
another piece.
Yeah, I've been toying with the idea of going back for a master's for a few years, and I've been looking at all the different options, and women's studies, women and gender studies is something that's really interesting to me. But I also really love plant physiology. So I've been looking at interdisciplinary programs that would allow me to kind of do both and connect them in a way that would be useful for what I do, and kind of where I want to go.
So this might be a good segue into Bonsai. Tell us about the event that began this all.
So it's like a long process of serendipitous events. I didn't ever plan on doing anything with bonsai. I had seen them when I was a teenager, I think at the Arboretum in North Carolina. My brother lives there and we would visit all the time. So I saw him there, but I was working for the university doing a completely different horticultural thing. And a position opened up that included the care of the bonsai collection. And I very distinctly remember, like, while I was talking with one of I think it was our associate director about the position, she mentioned something that, oh, you'd be caring for the bonsai collection as well. And I was like, oh, we have a bonsai collection? Like, I was so far away from like, what even, we even have this. I didn't even really realize it. So I was so focused on the other thing that I was doing. Yeah, I was like, yeah, sure, I can take care of those. That's fine. I can water them. No big deal.
I love it.
So I spent some time with Connie Bailey Crancer, was the horticulturist who was managing all of the special collections at the time. And so she kind of she taught me the basics, and really my first deep dive into it was the ABS learning seminars in Louisville. I think it was 2011. I hadn't worked very closely with Connie. I was literally just starting to do bonsai, and we road tripped down together. And it was like a crash course in like beginning bonsai for me. But I didn't really feel out of place. I took some of the seminars, and it was, it felt, I mean, just like horticulture. So, but I think I confused a lot of people there because I didn't really know anything. I remember being in one of the soils lectures, and I don't remember who it was, but the guy giving the lecture was like, how long have people been doing bonsai? And I'm pretty sure I just said, like, this is my first day. And he just like looked at me like, why are you here? So that's kind of where it started, and it's kind of snowballed from there.
Tell us a little bit about the Matthaei collection. Am I saying that right?
It's pronounced Matthaei.
Matthaei. I have been getting that wrong. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Right. It's a long, confusing name. But yeah, I believe it's pronounced Matthaei. That's what I was told to call it in the beginning. So.
And who was Matthaei?
That was Fred Matthaei. I don't know exactly the connection. He was, if he donated the land or just was a financial donor, but it is named after him. And so it's Matthaei Botanical Gardens and Nichols Arboretum, which is confusing because we're the same institution, but we have two locations. So the Botanical Gardens is about 6 miles off of main campus, kind of on the edge of town, and the Arboretum is on central campus right next to the medical complex. So there's some distinction of where you are, and I think that's one of the reasons I didn't necessarily realize we had a bonsai collection, because my work was primarily at the Arboretum for the first year or so that I was there. So I didn't explore Matthaei very much, but the collection is housed over at Matthaei Botanical Gardens. And I did a count this morning. I think we've got about 85 trees at the moment. And there will be more to come.
And are you the first curator of this collection?
No. So Connie Crancer was the first.
Oh, she was the first. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessarily curator. She was, and technically, I'm not officially a curator by U of M standards, but that's technically what I do. She was a horticulturist who managed all those special collections, but she was responsible for the bonsai and the record keeping and managing the volunteers and the work that was done on trees. So essentially, she was probably the first curator. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she was first, and I followed. She started back, I don't know when she started exactly, but she has a really interesting origin story of just working as a horticulturist, and then she saw volunteers from the Ann Arbor Bonsai Society working on our collection, and she would clock out of her regular job and go and volunteer with them, and then clock back in to do her other work. And eventually it got wrapped up into her actual job, so she didn't have to do that. But that's how she started. So, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Mm-hmm. So our core collection comes from Dr. Maurice Sievers, who was the director of pharmacology at the University of Michigan. And this was donated in the 1970s.
Oh, wow. That was early.
Yeah. And we still have some trees from the original collection. We don't have all of them, but we have some. And we've got some pictures from when they first got here. Early 80s. And so it's really fun to look at those pictures and see the transformation over time. But they kind of lived not on display, just kind of between some of the greenhouses, and Ann Arbor Bonsai Society members cared for them. We still work closely with them to manage the collection. But we kind of acquired more trees over time, and now we have an actual garden space to display them and keep them.
So just to jump in there, talking about history in bonsai in a public collection, looking at those old photos that you were just talking about, I'm curious about what your opinion is about creativity for the curator. Does that come into play, only when a tree loses a branch, or are there other opportunities for creativity? What are your thoughts about that?
For me, I've had a lot of opportunity to be creative with the trees. A lot of the donations were from hobbyists, and so there were some improvements that could be made over time. And so I worked with the volunteers, some of which are really good artists. They've won awards at some of the shows and such. And we also called in a couple other bonsai professionals to work with us and kind of teach me and the volunteers and do some reworking of some of the styles of the trees. So I've had the opportunity to kind of remake a number of the trees. And so that's been really good. And I think that, I don't know about other curators. If you have a collection full of, donated trees that are fairly done as far as their styles set, then I think there's not as much of an opportunity for creativity. Yeah. But I've been lucky to be able to make some big changes to trees.
Yeah. Do you feel any allegiance to the style, form, canopy, whatever, of a tree when it came into the collection?
Yes, that's actually what I was going to say. Thank you for cueing my brain back in. When we do receive a donation, we try to keep the original feel of the tree. So what the artist originally intended. Very rarely do we take a more upright tree and make it slanty or something like that. But we take a little bit of lenience with moving branches around, or widening things, making things smaller, regrowing a branch. We'll do that kind of stuff, but a lot of the trees we do try to keep the original intent of the artist there.
So I hear you're saying the word "we," but is this if you're sort of the acting curator, if not in name, what is this a a group decision, or does it come down from on high or from Connie, or is there history regarding that particular path with curating trees?
I get to make the final decision, which is fun.
You can say that bolder.
I get to do it. When I say we, I mean myself and the volunteers, because usually when we're working on trees, it's me and a group of individuals. We do discuss a lot of the changes we're going to make, and try to get to a consensus. But sometimes there's, or maybe more than just sometimes, there's one or two people who are like, I don't really want to do that. But usually once it's done, they're on board. But yeah, I mean, I work.
Yeah, after the fact, it can often be hard to get back. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So. Yeah, but yeah, we try to make, we try to get to a consensus and make a decision, an informed decision together. But this last year, it's mostly just been me making decisions, which has been fun. But and hopefully I made the right decisions on the trees.
I want to bring Jonas in here. He's been very quietly listening to this banner, but I want to hear Jonas's thoughts or questions as well.
I was curious, Carmen, you have a hort background, and I think a lot of people in bonsai really fantasize about having more of a horticulture background. Is it all that? Like, do you find that you can lean on something you may have caught in a book or a lecture at one point, and that's made it easier for you to maintain beautiful and healthy trees?
I definitely think it's an advantage. Not so much in the specifics of, oh yeah, like that thing in that book said this, but when thinking about what you're going to do to the tree, or when you don't understand something and somebody explains it to you, there's that background knowledge of plant physiology that you're like, oh, right, that's how plants work. And so that's definitely helpful in understanding why you make the decisions you make. I mean, it's something you can learn as you go. There's plenty of good artists who don't necessarily have a horticulture background, but I would definitely say it's an advantage.
Oh, that's cool, because it's either you got to figure if it's a species you're unfamiliar with, you might know more about how that species grows. If a tree's going through a really stressful period, it might give you an idea about what's going to get it back on track. And I know a lot of people would love to lean on anything related to pesticides or fungicides, or just really getting things back to basic health. And not having been through all that, it always makes me wonder, what is it that we're all missing out on? And it sounds like fun to have a bit deeper background in that stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I really loved plant biology and plant physiology, so it's a fun puzzle to be able to connect the pieces of art and plant science and get something that's both.
Did you ever find that, Michael, or have you just been looking stuff up on your own your entire life?
Yeah, probably the second there. Yeah, my background is more art, but Carmen, you have a bit of an art background as well, don't you? I continually see your drawings on Instagram, and
I'm trying to regain some of my artistic skill. Yeah, I took a lot of art classes in high school because I didn't like any of the other electives. I briefly considered going into art in college. My brother has a degree in fine art, but I didn't think I could really. It didn't really fit for me. It kind of felt like a stretch. But I've been drawing for most of my life, and I've kind of let that fall off to the side. But more recently, I've been trying to regain some of those skills and trying to bravely post things that I'm not totally happy with, but just to let people know that you don't have to be perfect. You can just draw something and that's art and you can share it. So yeah. And my grandma was a painter. So it's in the family for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Have you set up a bonsai sharing account for the garden?
Say that again?
Have you set up a bonsai image sharing platform for the garden?
Not specifically. our garden does have an Instagram. It's at Matthaei Nichols. So occasionally I'll jump on there and post some things. And then I personally have a bonsai Instagram account called Becoming Bonsai, and I'll often post pictures of what I'm working on at work or what plants I see, outside, or the frogs that come into the greenhouses or whatever. But specifically for the bonsai, no.
I've definitely seen the frogs on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of frogs.
We have a lot of them.
I like that it's seasonal too, because we dream about these things and see them on TV. Apparently they're called seasons. And I definitely get a sense of that in your images.
Yes, we have very distinct seasons here in Michigan, for sure.
I imagine you're experiencing one of them now.
Yes, we're in the part of winter that is perpetually gray. It's like,
oh gosh,
it's like always Monday at 5:00 is kind of what it feels like. But there's actually a little bit of sun today, so it's a day to get outside and take a walk.
So what does bonsai practice look like for you this time of year?
So we used to put all of the trees into cold frames, so they were really inaccessible in the winter because they had a lid on them, and then the snow would pile up. So we couldn't really get to them to work on them in the winter. But the last couple years, we've been working on cold greenhouse solutions because of our recent donation of azaleas. We didn't want to be, one, lifting super heavy trees down into our cold frames, and two, we didn't want them to get damaged by the potential of Michigan winter. So I have more access to the trees now, and I've pushed off some of the pine wiring to this time of year. But we also have a decent collection of figs, ficus, and some other tropicals. So I'm trying to spend a little bit more time with them this time of year.
So you're becoming a very well-rounded bonsai practitioner.
Oh yes, we have all kinds of things here.
Well, that sounds cool that you can do a lot more work this time of year. Otherwise, that would be quite a big break.
Yeah.
But
I'm also involved in the gardens with other things. I'm on a couple of committees, and there's other planning work and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, as far as bonsai, I do get to keep my hands on it year round.
Well, you mentioned Satsuki. Tell me about your relationship with azaleas.
Yes. So again, something I didn't realize was a thing until a couple of years into bonsai. But one of our development directors found that a U of M alum had a collection of azaleas. And this is Dr. Mel Goldstein. He's a professor at Case West University in Cleveland, Ohio. He had a really nice bonsai collection, is what I heard first. And once I saw it, I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, he's got an amazing collection of trees. Most of them are probably most of them are azaleas. And so we started, talking with him, having him out to look at our trees, our garden, that kind of thing. And we developed a pretty good relationship with him. And he's decided to donate his collection to the Botanical Gardens, which is simply amazing. It's going to put the gardens on the map of really good bonsai collections. So I immediately needed to learn Satsuki because so many of his trees are super high quality Satsukis imported from Japan.
Yeah, they're amazing. Beautiful.
Yeah. They're really cool. And I like working on them a lot because they're kind of picky. You have to revisit them over and over and over. And I like that kind of tree that you kind of interact with more than just once a season or once a year, as far as styling and pruning and stuff goes. So I really enjoy working with them. And they're just beautiful. So that's really led to kind of expanding our garden space, our display space, creating this new cold storage facility, going to Japan, all of that kind of stuff.
How have you been able to learn about azaleas? What resources have you leaned on to figure out what to do to keep the trees looking good?
Mm-hmm. So some of it obviously came from Mel, just some of the day-to-day fertilizing, watering, his pesticide application. But he also works pretty closely with Dave Kreutz, who has an azalea business down in St. Louis. And so I had gone over to Mel's place to work with both of them on some repotting. And then once we received our first donation of azaleas from Mel, Dave started coming fairly regularly, spring and fall, to help teach me and the volunteers what to do as far as seasonal work goes. We've also worked with Suthin. Mm-hmm. He has worked with Mel a lot. And so we've been bringing Suthin in to work on all of our collection, but also with a focus on Mel's trees, mostly his azaleas. So yeah, we've had some pretty good help learning how to manage them, and keep them looking good.
Have you had access to any of Mel or Dave's Sotsky repotting contraptions?
Yes.
Tell people about what that is.
I want to know.
I don't know what this is.
It's more that I've heard about them than witnessed them, but
you haven't used it yet. Okay.
There was one we did use where you essentially put the tree upside down on the stand. So it's hard to describe, but it's a stand, and then it's got two prongs that come out, and you kind of put the soil surface on the two prongs so that you can work on the bottom of the tree and really get fresh soil into the bottom of the tree so that there's no dry pockets, that kind of thing. And it's pretty extravagant. I heard also about they were using a pulley system for one of his larger trees, and I did not witness that, but the story goes that they got the tree in the pot, and Mel decided it was not positioned correctly, so they had to take it back out of the pot and then put it back into the pot. And this tree is huge. The pot was custom made. I'm pretty sure that if the pot was empty, that I could probably squeeze into it. So it's a big tree.
Man, I gotta get me one of those.
Yeah, for those who haven't been, Mel has shown trees at the U.S. National exhibit, and if you just look back and see who won the Sotsky category at the National, it's going to be one of Mel's trees in general. And the biggest ones, the trunk is far bigger than my torso. They're monstrous, and they have to be held upside down throughout quite a lot of the repotting process, which is why it's so important to have these awesome contraptions that can help with that.
Yes, and multiple people to
move
things and lift things and all of that. Yeah, the tree that that we're talking about is the one that won the national award for azaleas in 2018, and that's now living with me at the Botanical Gardens.
How long can that go before being repotted again? Hopefully a while.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully a while.
What is your usual cycle? Sorry.
I mean, we wait till they need it. We keep record of when it was last repotted, and if something goes for a really long time, I look at it every year and see okay, well, this tree's coming up on 4 years without us really exploring the pot. Let's go take another look. And so we just do it on a as needed basis. When I started, it was much more of a routine, and I've kind of let that slide to when trees need it.
Yeah, that's a good policy, I think, in general for bonsai. One thing I've noticed is that the larger the pot, the longer your schedule can be, your rough schedule, and the smaller the pot, the quicker the repotting schedule should be. I mean, the ones at Suzuki's place, my teacher's place, these huge pines from the Imperial collection are repotted once every 15 years. 4-person trees.
Yeah. Yeah, I really miss. We've been shut down because of COVID for essentially since March, and so we haven't had the volunteer help that we usually have. And I've got some of our tropicals are in need of a repot, so I'm going to have to haul some staff members in to help me lift things, and it's going to be a process with fewer people.
You have to build your own contraption.
Yes, I might need to.
So speaking of multiple people with these large trees, tell us a little bit about your volunteer team. who helps with these adventures.
Yeah, we've got a fairly robust volunteer team. Most of them have been with us for a number of years. Jack Weichel is one of our volunteers.
Jack, yes.
Yeah, he's so wonderful. He still works over at Hidden Lake Gardens in Tipton, Michigan as well, as their curator. I don't know if he's officially their curator, if he's more at a volunteer level at this point, but he's very involved in Michigan Bonsai. And so he comes out and helps us out. We usually meet, especially during the busy season, we meet once a week for, I don't know, a whole afternoon and do whatever needs to get done. Then we'll kind of taper off, during the slow bits. But Jack Weichel works with us. Cyril Groom, who has won a number of awards at a lot of ABS shows. Paul Kulesa, Jay Sinclair. Trying to remember. It's been a long time since I've emailed them. But yeah, we've got a good group of Ann Arbor Bonsai Society members who come out really regularly and work on trees.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Almost essential for a big collection like that. You have almost 100 trees, and it sounds like more will be coming. So
yeah, and it's fun because they all kind of have their own thing that they like to do, so they always get to do that, and then we'll pull them into other stuff they're not used to, just to help and get some more experience. So it's fun. They're a really good group. Mm-hmm.
And you play a role of kind of a teacher then? For them when they're there?
Starting to get into it's tricky because when I started, a lot of them have worked with me since I really started the process of learning bonsai. So there's kind of me still as the student, and I'm still learning stuff from them. But then there are other things where I will act as the teacher for someone who doesn't know how to prune this tree or how to wire. We'll practice wiring. So it's kind of a mutual, you teach me, I teach you, we share what we've learned, and everybody benefits.
Speaking of, tell us more about your learning from Michael. You two know your learning relationship, but none of us know the details.
Oh. Yeah, Carmen was...
it's not an arbitrary connection between you two
here. Right. Yeah, when we first started talking about having a little series on women curators of public collections, Carmen was one of the first to come to mind. She was part of my seasonal program, finished the seasonal program, and then at the end of that inquired about the possibility of an apprenticeship. So that was quite some time ago, and this May she will be starting her apprenticeship out here in Oregon, which is a big move for Carmen and her family. Thankfully, her husband has the ability to work from almost anywhere, and Gus, probably being 6'7" now, probably is going to be excited for change. Or what do you think about that?
He's 7.
No?
Yeah,
he's 7. I keep getting his name, his age wrong.
No, that's all right. No, he was really, he's excited. I think he's a little bit nervous too, but I remember when we were first talking about it, I showed him your tiny house, and he decided that he was going to build a tiny home and live by the river by himself. Ooh. And I could come visit, and he would come visit me. But I think we're like finally at the point of like, we will all live in the same house, which is probably a good thing.
Oh my. Wow. Yeah. Wow. That usually happens in the teenage years, doesn't it?
Yeah. He's ahead of the game.
He has some Huck Finn in him.
Huck Finn, right.
We may end up building a tiny house in the backyard out by the compost pile. So that he can,
once he sees it, I don't think that's going to remain in his head as a possibility.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It's a little swampy back there when we get a lot of rain.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how we know one another.
What was it like from your perspective, Carmen? Yeah. Tell us about the seasonal experience, because that's remote learning over quite a lot of time.
Yeah. I'm really super lucky that the Botanical Gardens was able to help me get this kind of training, because it's something that I would not have likely been able to afford on my own. And they consider it, staff training. So they like to invest in us as staff members. So that was super amazing that they did that. But it was in 2017, we were talking about me and some of the management over at the gardens were talking about changing my position to be full-time bonsai. At that point, I was working at about 80% and doing bonsai as well as a couple of the other garden spaces. So we were talking about it, and something that came up was professional training. And so I was looking around at seasonal programs and decided to go with Michael's. And then, very much out of character for me, I flew across the country to go do this class with people I didn't know. I was very nervous at first, but it became one of my favorite things to do. So I was able to do the seasonal program in 2 years, and and I decided I wasn't done. So I asked Michael about the apprenticeship, and here we are.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and that's a big deal, right? You haven't lived outside of Michigan. Do I remember that correctly?
No, I've only ever lived in Michigan, and so now I'm just moving all the way across the country.
Right.
Not scary at all. Not scary. It's gonna be fine.
No, you're coming at a good time of year too. At least you're not coming in like February, where trying to get over the passes would be a little more excitement than you would want in a big truck. But
don't mention that she hasn't done the trip yet.
Right.
Well, what was it like getting to Japan finally when you were had so much exposure to bonsai and you finally got over there? I remember what it was like from the outside, but what was it like for you to finally get over there?
It was awesome. Again, another experience I would not have probably put myself in had work not really encouraged it. Just because essentially what it felt like was flying to a completely foreign country and meeting, a couple people that I didn't really know you super well, Jonas. And I know Dave Kreutz was there as well. But I didn't know him super well. And so traveling in a foreign country with people I didn't know really well was really daunting. But I remember people telling me my whole time doing bonsai that you've never really seen bonsai until you go to Japan. And I get it. Like, it was like every tree there was show quality, better than the stuff in our collections. Or as good as the best stuff in our collections. And there was just so much. It was just everywhere. We went to Gafuten and saw the Shohin displays, and that was just awesome. And then we went to, I don't know how many, 4 or 5 nurseries, and it was just trees and trees and trees. And it was really fabulous. I had a great time.
Yeah. From what I recall, you just couldn't wipe the grin off your face the entire time.
Yeah, it was really great. And the donuts in Japan are super good. I was a big fan of those. We had a lot of donuts.
Oh yeah. I think Jonas and I both have stories of Boone and his enjoyment of the confectionaries.
So good, yeah. Yeah.
It's just how you start the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was really fun, and yeah, that's really where I had very briefly met Jonas before.
St. Louis.
Yeah, in St. Louis. And but it was really fun to get to know you better. And I didn't really realize your connection with Michael until I was there and we were talking about it. So I thought that was a really cool small world connection.
It's a very small world, which is always the case. When you're with Dave, you never know who you're going to be hanging out with.
Right. Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. But when was that? When you met Jonas in St. Louis? Just for my own.
Yeah, that was in, what year was that? Was that
it was the big ABS conference?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took a wiring seminar from Jonas. Do you remember that? I don't know.
Yeah, very much. You were the very serious person who was asking questions and trying to look at things closely. And you said, "Oh yeah, I'm going out to, actually, I think I'd heard about you ahead of time. I think Michael might have even given me a heads up that you'd be there, and you mentioned that you were doing some seasonals out there at the time."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember you were like, "Who likes wiring?" And I was like the only person who raised their hand. You were just like, "What? Like, why are you in this class?" Well, I like wiring. I want to wire more trees. Exactly. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a great event. And that was the one that Andrew's club did the bulk of the organizing for. It was pretty much their big event that they'd hosted along with ABS, which was a ton of fun. It was great to see the whole Midwest crowd on that trip. And so when you got back home, did you see your trees differently after seeing what they can look like in Japan?
Oh,
did you
yeah.
start to appreciate the great and learn to strive to get there with the rest of the trees?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I've definitely started looking at trees differently since Michael's classes, and then since Japan, for sure. I don't really know how to explain it. Just I'm lost on words at the moment. I'll think of them.
Do you still have a pot addiction? You were having so much trouble resisting cute purple pots.
Yes, I don't laugh at me.
Hey,
They're
come on, it's a serious business.
It's very serious, and you're going to see a lot of them, Michael.
Okay. It's just the first I've heard of it, so I had to react.
Somebody once told me that you couldn't do bonsai in a purple pot, and I was like, oh yeah. So since then, I've been buying purple pots. There were plenty of them in Japan, so they must be a thing, right? So yeah, I bought a lot of pots when I was there, with dreams of putting plants in them, but they're still in my closet.
Wow. So the don't tell me what I can't do thing is a thing for you.
Maybe.
But it's also just an appreciation, because I know it got to the point where whenever I saw a purple pot, I'd get your attention, and oh, you're right, that is nice.
It's really nice. Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun game to look for the different pots.
Yeah. Well, looking for patterns is a good way to start figuring out what actually is available, because when you walk into a room with a lot of vendors, you say, look, there are, quote, lots of pots. But when you start looking for a small yellow rectangle, you're like, wow, there aren't many small yellow rectangles, or anything pink or purple. Or, as soon as you get into an interesting requirement, you start picking up on these patterns of what is in this show, what are on those shelves, and what in the world am I going to do with this tree I've got back home?
That's a really astute comment. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, you could deep dive.
Yeah. I also remember seeing a tree over in Japan in a yellow pot, and I found the same yellow pot, though cracked, randomly at one of the Ann Arbor Bonsai Society shows and sales. So I purchased it for too much money and have this really cute little yellow pot now, waiting again for the perfect tree.
Oh, that's awesome. Actually, one of the probably my favorite tree that I picked up on that trip was due to Carmen's prodding. She was a big fan of one of the azaleas I was looking at. Oh yeah, you got to get that one. Oh yeah, don't even ask about that. You got to get that. And I still have it at home on the shelf.
I told you to buy all of them.
You also said that. I will, to be fair. And actually, Carmen picked out an entire batch of trees. For those who haven't done buying trips in Japan, which obviously that's very few people, it's not like you're wandering through your favorite department store on a Sunday afternoon and there's all the time in the world. It's more like you're sleep deprived, jet lagged, wondering whether or not you should be eating. It's getting dark out and you're running around and you're like, oh, we've got 30 minutes to wrap up the rest of the next 100 trees we have to pick out. And so I remember at the waning daylight moments at one of the gardens we visited, Carmen and I frantically picking out trees and just leaving them on the ground and walking away for someone else to figure out what it was that I'd, I didn't even remember what I'd picked up until they showed up a couple months later. But Carmen was a good help in picking out trees. How's this one? Oh, it's great. Next. Okay. And we just kind of zipped through it all. It was fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. I hope that you liked them as much when they showed up at your doorstep.
I did. They were fantastic. They were great.
Good,
I got more the next year, actually. They were great.
Oh, good. Yeah, those were really cool little trees. I really liked those.
And to describe them for those who haven't seen them, they were young whips that had been wired in just bizarro, really funky, kinky shapes. The trees had acute angles often, or big, wide horizontal loops, or just really, they were the most playful trees that we saw the entire trip. And it was fun picking out a handful of them. many of them, they didn't know what the species were or which cultivar it was. And so it was fun to see them bloom, what they turned out to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of them look like candy canes, a lot of white with pink stripes.
Oh, wow. Cool. Wow. Do you have like an Azalea Shazam like app where you can, focus in on a flower?
Well, not only Shazam, do we not have the visual that yet, that would be the smart way to do it, because right? When I ask the professional growers in Japan, I'll show them a picture and they don't even try. They're like, yeah, I don't know. There's so many that are so similar, they don't even pretend.
Yeah, I bought the book of Azalea cultivars, and it's just, if they could digitize that and then somehow figure out a way to like ID the specific cultivar, that'd be amazing. But I can't imagine the number of images of each one that they would need to get in order to really make it work.
It's actually a fairly solvable problem. I just don't know if anyone wants to invest in that problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. It's a real niche market.
Yeah, I tend to get glazed eyes when I look at the Azalea cultivar books. So just they're all beautiful, but that's about as far as I get.
Yeah.
It takes some repeated exposure before you can start to appreciate that. And I'm the same. For me, it's funny. So many things when they're new to me aren't as interesting, but then the more time you spend with them, you start to pick up the details. I've said before that when I started looking at pines, I wondered why they all had the exact same shape. Like I could not tell two pines apart when I started bonsai. And now obviously that's changed. And azaleas are similar. It's like I didn't really care about the flowers. I loved the shapes of the trees. But then when you start seeing them bloom in person and you're like, oh, wait a minute, that's actually really cool. And then over time you start appreciating more and more. And it may take 20 or never for some people, a lot of years, but others, they just grab you right away. But I want to hear, Carmen, you mentioned at the very start that you thought there might be some fun opportunities to connect gender women's work with your own work. And I would love to hear if you have any thoughts about what that might mean for your role at the garden in the future.
Yeah, I'm still kind of playing around with it. It's definitely something that's on the forefront of my mind. And I'm trying to figure out ways to really incorporate it into my work. But every year during the summer, we hire a bunch of interns, and almost all of my interns working specifically on bonsai have been women. And I find it really interesting that a lot of the female interns have a larger interest in bonsai than the guys. But when you go to club meetings, it's exactly the opposite. It's mostly male. And so it's not that the interest isn't there, it's that it's not somehow being captured. And I want to figure out how to capture it and inspire young women to really embrace this and get into it. I've had interns and even interns that were not mine, or just other interns at the gardens, come spend time helping prep azaleas for show. Or we'd walk through a sale together and buy some trees, and we'd have little workshops out in the studio. And it's really fun. So I would love to, I think probably a really good avenue for getting more young women, or just more young people in general, is to reach out to the students at the University of Michigan and try to get a student volunteer group to come work with us as well. It's so tricky because generally our volunteer groups meet at the same time every week and as a group. So I think it's going to be changing our volunteer, the way we structure our volunteers for bonsai is, maybe just, whenever you're available and I'm here, you come out and help for X number of hours. So trying to connect with the students is one thing we can do. The purple pots also, honestly, are a little bit part of it. I don't want, I want to show that there is more diversity in actual bonsai than what you see at shows. And I'm really interested in creating some almost hyper feminine styled trees that are very clearly like not grotesque, but very slender or curvy, or just really light, beautiful trees in maybe an untraditional pot, like something that's purple.
I could see a purple pot Society in the future here.
Yeah. Hey, that's a great name for it.
Hashtag
Purple
Purple
Pot
Pot.
Society. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm using that. I'm using it. Starting. Um, prepare yourself. But just to show that there's not a limit to the artistic eye that goes into this. Yes, there's traditional trees. Yes, there's traditional styles. Learn those. They're important. Then take what you've learned and make something different that makes you really happy. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm going with it on the university level. And I've been thinking at some point possibly starting my own business, and I'm trying to figure out how I would incorporate that into a business plan. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is one of the things that really struck me, Carmen. I went out there about a year and a half ago to do kind of an informal interview. I mean, I knew Carmen pretty well because she had been through the seasonal program. You know, we'd worked together for 2 years or so, but I was really curious what her intentions were, what she wanted to get out of the apprenticeship, you know, whether there was any larger goal, which is a question that I ask anyone who's interested in apprenticeship at Crataegus Bonsai. So I remember we went to a coffee shop and we sat down and it really struck me that you gave me kind of a synopsis of what you've just said in the last 5 minutes here, that you really did have a goal and it was different than anyone else that I had ever heard. You talked about your experience of essentially feeling like your early experience had been in an old boys club and you just didn't feel welcome. And that really struck me. And it was something I wanted to certainly enable. So I'm glad to hear you fill that out a little bit more. In fact, I don't think you've, even to me, I don't think you've filled it out quite as much as you did right here. So thank you, Jonas, for the prod.
and a lot of this has kind of surfaced. The University of Michigan has a really strong diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative that I've been involved with our committee here at the Gardens to kind of figure out how to include that in everything that we do. And so that's really kind of pushed me in the direction of, okay, well, let's bring more women into generally a more male dominated industry. And I would love to go even further and reach out to marginalized populations, the LGBTQ plus population. But those aren't really my areas of specialty, but I am a woman and I know other women. So I feel like I can start there and hopefully start something maybe bigger and, you know, get other people who maybe do know those communities better to kind of partner or do their own thing and just make bonsai more accessible.
Brilliant.
That sounds fantastic. And I really think you're onto something in that. As I've engaged in various bonsai events outside of the bonsai community, it's a completely different demographic. It skews far younger and far more female, which is awesome. And so when I've done events in, you know, when visiting a business or just doing things for the general public, it's far more young women than any other group. And they love it. It's funny. That depends a lot on the context, I think. It depends on who the people are working with or how things are presented and what's available to them. And at some point, I think it'll be fun to see that work its way through the bonsai community some more. But just recently, actually, a couple of the people I work with brought their 20-something daughters over to a class and they sat down and worked on trees all day long and were having a great old time. And that was just to hang out with their dads. And but they seemed to be totally fine doing the work too. It was really neat to see. So I look forward to seeing more of that.
Yeah, I'm excited to do something with it. It's been an idea for a while, and so I'm excited to get the opportunity to kind of explore it further.
Well, you know, as part of the apprenticeship, this is kind of a new thing as of Andrew's time with me, is that we have a thesis show. So you might do some proto development of some of these ideas you just laid out to
Yeah, I'd love
show
to do
the
that.
community what you've been nibbling on here. That so far has been sort of thinking in words and intuitions, but we want to assist you in opening the flower a bit.
Excellent.
Yeah. This is really exciting. It's good. It's good. Yeah. So that was, sort of your own mission statement. But to briefly go back to the collection, I'm really curious. I didn't get this question in earlier, but in terms of, does the collection have a mission statement? And as a second part of that, are there any future visions of the collection there that you're curator of that we can look forward to?
The collection at the moment does not have an official vision. How we've been approaching it, really since I started working with it, was that we want to showcase, before we received the donation from Mel, it was more about showcasing trees from local artists and trying to build a more robust collection of native species, which we already had a fair number of. And since Mel's addition, I think we still want to hold on to that initial concept of this is kind of where we started. These are, from some of the bonsai experts within our community, trees that they have created and given to us. And then also show kind of that more traditional style from Mel and bring that collection of azaleas into it and really focus on the excellence of that collection. So it's kind of a jumble of thoughts at the moment, but that's a little bit of background on kind of what we're thinking.
Yeah. So you had kind of a seed collection. I can't remember the name of the person who seeded the collection, and then Mel is one of your primary private donors that seems to be filling out a kind of a major statement in that collection. I was very impressed when I visited the level, just the quality of the azaleas is as high as anything you'd see in the States. If not the highest. It's incredible.
Just amazing.
Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, we for the past, I'm trying to remember how many years we've been doing it. I think it's been 5. We've been having a spring azalea show. And since we didn't originally have trees from Mel, and I still do this, I get a cargo van and I drive over to Mel's house and we load up enough trees for the show and I drive them back and we put them on display for a week or two. And then we do a little bit of work on them, at least like get the flowers off and clean them up a little bit, and then get in the car and drive them all the way back and, let him do the rest of the work. And just as a way of kind of getting the public aware of what we're doing with his trees, and kind of as a preview for where we're going once we have all of the trees from his collection. And it's a lot of work, but it's also super fun.
One of the recent events was written up in a Japanese Satsuki magazine.
Oh, right.
That's right. Yeah, that was impressive. That was great.
Yeah, that was.
I've seen photos of it. It's a heck of a show.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, the trees are just gorgeous. I know.
If you're anywhere near Ann Arbor, it's worth traveling to.
Yeah, we had to cancel it this year, and we moved it online, but it wasn't the same. But we're trying to figure out if we're going to be able to do anything this spring or not. But yeah, in what year is it? In 2019, we had Hiro Kobayashi from Japan, and he brought a couple other people with him, and he was at the Azalea weekend with us, and got to do a workshop or two, and it was really fun to see him again. We had met in Japan the winter before, so seeing him again and kind of showing him around what we do over here was pretty fun. And it was really fun. My intern is in a picture in that magazine. She's in love with azaleas, so it was really fun to see her kind of get a spotlight there.
Nice. Nice. Was she the one that I met? I can't remember. I did.
Yeah.
Meet.
Yeah. Her name's Jaden. She was great. Yeah. She was going to work with me again this past summer in Bonsai, but we had to cancel our internship program again. So, but
Yeah.
she still sends me pictures of her trees and we talk about them. So,
Oh, she has her own collection. So she's
she's bought a number of azaleas and
dived in.
Yeah. She's
Great.
She's hooked.
Great.
Neat. Well, I look forward to seeing this collection. I have not yet been out to visit the Matthaei, so I'd love to come and see everything.
Yeah, if you come, definitely come at the end of May when the azaleas are blooming, because also our peony collection is blooming, and that's kind of how I started at the gardens, and it's pretty fantastic. It's a 1 acre. It's a huge plot over at the Arboretum of historic peonies introduced before 1950. There's over 700 plants.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing.
I'd love to see that. There's a great peony section of Ueno Garden in Tokyo, and I've had some of them bloom in winter somehow. And so often when I'm at the one show, I'll sneak over to the peony show as well. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever found that. Neat. I didn't know about that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Wow. Yeah.
That's cool. They're fun.
The first time I ever came to Portland was actually for a American Peony Society conference, which was fun.
Neat. Well, the other thing, how many trees do you have at home apart from your own, the trees you care for in the collection?
Not many, probably around 10, and most of them are not really anything. There are a lot of things I've kind of collected and started growing with the intention of doing something with them when they're big enough. I have a couple that are pretty good. Well, they're works in progress, but so much of my time is at work, and then work, coming home and being a mom and trying to also have my own life. So it's tricky to stay focused on my own trees, but I have a few, and obviously I'll end up getting more once I'm, apprenticing and eventually having a business. There will be many more trees in my future. So
that's not an uncommon thing for people that manage gardens in any way, shape, or form.
Right. Yeah. And I think too, it's kind of fun because it's different. I'm at home, I've been more interested in, starting new things or, making something from scratch. Excuse me. Where at work, I'm mostly maintaining mature trees. So it's fun to get a little bit of the difference in there.
Neat.
I just wanted to highlight a couple of the other people who have donated trees to the collection. Jack Weichel, we've got a number of his trees. Some years ago, he got rid of most of his collection of outdoor trees because he had a lot and they were really getting to be kind of too much to take care of. Who's got geese?
They just flew over the tiny home. Yeah, there were 1, 2, 3, 8 of them.
Oh, wow. But yeah, we've got a number of trees from Jack Weichel, which feels very special, having worked with him for a number of years and now being a steward to some of his trees. Jerry Meislick also, I don't know if you guys know him, but he used to be a member of the Ann Arbor Bonsai Society, who now lives, I think he's in Montana. But he's a ficus guy. And so we've got a number of his trees. He used to work as a volunteer with us. And so we've got a couple that he made along with Connie and a couple donations from him. One of them is in one of Michael's pots, which was fun to find out. And early on, Jack Sustick was a supporter of the collection as well. We have one of his trees from his personal collection. And he was nice enough to invite me out to the National Arboretum. I think it was 2016 to spend a couple days working with him on that collection. And that was really fun. I got to learn a lot of stuff and see all the trees there. And it was lucky I went because he retired the next year. But the good thing about that is that he lives in Michigan and not too far from the university. So we had him out a couple times for volunteering, and it's nice to have him close by in case we have any big questions that need immediate attention.
Jack is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You
he's
can't do much better than that for Lifeline.
Yeah. Right.
yeah. He used to be a member of the Ann Arbor Bonsai Society as well. So
Right.
I
Right.
feel like
Former
Michigan.
curator of the national. Yeah, you can't do much better.
Yeah, Michigan
Yeah.
has a fairly robust bonsai community.
Yeah, sure does. Did you have any trees from let's see, Bruce Baker? Isn't he
Oh
from Ann
yeah. We've got
Arbor?
a
Do you
we've
have
got
a
a
U
U.
or oh great.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful
we've got one
tree.
of his U's that I think he originally styled it back in
Mhm.
86 or 87, and then
Mm.
he got into other entrepreneurial things, and it went into the garden bed in his backyard. Um, my volunteers dug it up in 2013 when I was on maternity leave, and then 2014 to um, sorry, till 2017 we worked on it, and it went into the national show in 2018. So thanks to him for his donation, and then Dave DeGroat actually has worked with us too. He helped us get the U to where it was, and then Bjorn styled it right before the show. So we've had a lot of hands on that tree, and it's
Great.
yeah, it's been fun
Yeah,
to get to
super.
know everybody and work with so many people. And yeah, it's nice to have one of Bruce's trees. He's still around. He's
Oh, is
chat with
he?
him
Oh,
every now
okay.
and then. Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
All right. Say hi. It's been a
I
long
will.
time
Yeah.
since I've seen him.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of it.
Yeah. Say hi to Jack Weichel too. I
Oh, I
haven't
will.
seen him in many years, but I've always enjoyed our chats. He's a sweetie.
Yeah, I really enjoy having Jack around.
Yeah. Yeah. Has a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's one of the only people I know that grows trees inside all year round. They're not tropicals, and they're really, really. I want to say cute, but I've also been told not to say that bonsai are cute. But they're really cute, and
Are they in
I
purple
really
pots?
like them. Yes, they do. At least one of them should probably have a purple pot, but I'll work on them.
You'll have to influence the great Jack Weichel.
Yeah,
We'll see
I'll
if this
try.
can happen.
I'll try.
All right.
Unlikely.
Oh dear. Jonas, do you have anything more?
No, I think we covered all the
Yeah.
good stuff. You've made a good case for people going out and visiting everything that's going on at Matthaei out in Michigan.
You bet. Yeah.
Yeah, there's tons of cool stuff. Yeah, it's a great place to come and visit. It's kind of a little hidden gem in Ann Arbor. So
And I want to see the rest of the garden too, because I love visiting botanical gardens in general. So that'll be fun to see.
Yeah, we've got a big focus on native plants and conservation. Then that's at the gardens. And the arboretum is mostly it's like a big park in the middle of the city. It's really cool. It's landscape that's never been built on. It's all glacially formed with some cool natural communities and a giant historic peony garden. So it's definitely something to see.
Awesome.
That's a beautiful place. Yeah, lovely.
Well, thanks so much for sharing your time.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Thank you. This is great. It's really great. We do need something for our blooper reel, though, to end the podcast with. So I'll ask you this, and I ask this actually of all incoming apprentices, just to know what I need to look out for. But if you were to lead a life of crime, what would it be?
Oh man, I haven't thought of that.
Oh well, that's actually a good answer.
I never thought about leading a life of crime.
How about Lou or Gus? Do you think Gus would have an answer?
Oh my gosh.
7-year-old.
So my husband, actually, this is a funny story, and he probably won't appreciate me telling this to everybody, but he's a software engineer, and he went to interview for a new job at a company, and he had been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed, and they asked, like, if you could do anything, like, what would your dream job be? And he said, an assassin. And he told me that when he got home, and I was like, you can't say that in an interview. He got the job. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
/ scary.
Did they let him be an assassin though?
Oh no, I mean, he was just developing
okay.
software. Yeah.
Oh,
no,
that's too bad.
Yeah, but I hope he gave him the caveat that it was he was playing Assassin's Creed, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that though. What would I do if I lived a life of crime?
Or maybe just start with what would you want your criminal outfit to be and work back from there.
Whoa, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
Well,
that's really great. I want to think about it though. I don't know. I think I've always been a rule follower. So
yeah. Okay. All right. I didn't see that coming, but that's good to know. Yeah. Yeah. This was great, Carmen. It's really conversational and great fun. Jonas finally got us on the right track. Sorry, I tend to do this like interrogation thing, which isn't quite as. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay, this was super fun. As I told Michael the other day, I've always wanted to be on a podcast. So
yeah, that's right. It was great to hear. Just totally great.
Well, you'll be on plenty more once you're out
west. Yeah, you'll
excellent.
You'll have to be one of our quizzers, our inquisitors.
Wonderful. I can't wait.
Cool.
Great.
Well, I hope to see you in person whenever that's going to be. Look forward to
that.
Yes,
absolutely. Me too.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks so much, Carmen.
Yeah, you're welcome,
Thank
guys.
you.
Cheerio.
Bye.
The music on today's podcast is brought to you by the fine folks at Blue Dot Sessions. Check them out at www.sessions.blue. Also, the advertisements are fake.
Probably not appropriate for the blooper reel.
We can definitely edit.